Civilized Society.
Welcome to the Silver Eye Society, the podcast where we look at films to find the themes behind our modern issues. We are doing our monthly AMA. This is May's AMA. We're getting a little more timely over here. We're recording at the end of May instead of in the following month. Progress, a little bit every day. So this is the public portion of our AMA. This is our work for the people, okay? We give free knowledge, free edutainment is the word I learned today. Edutainment, how do you like that?
My entire life has been focused on edutainment. It's been one great sacrifice to edutainment.
And here we are producing more edutainment for the people. So in this public portion of the AMA, we're going to talk about what everybody's talking about. I'll bet like a week afterwards or something, because that's what we do here. We take things slowly.
Did you just say I'll bet?
I'll bet.
No, albeit.
No?
That's what I say, albeit. I don't think you say I'll bet. That's edutainment right there. Boom, you've been edutained. Everyone's been edutained. Or maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's albeit.
I think it's up to one's discretion
It's
to
not.
a certain...
It's not. It's nonsense.
I feel like I've heard I'll bet. This is just a Hooked on Phonics episode
I say things
now.
like, I'll bet we're going to be late recording the next AMA. What are we talking about? The Netflix? We talking about the trans? We talking about trans comedy? Trans comedy is all the rage these days. Everyone
really
loves the
is.
trans comedy. What are we
Quite
doing?
literally the rage.
Ricky Gervais, is that how you would pronounce it? If you pronounce albeit, I'll bet. Do you pronounce his name?
Ricky Gervais.
Gervais, I guess. Albeit, okay. Ricky Gervais. What hast thou done to the trans community? Is that what this is about? I haven't paid attention, dude. To be honest, this public edutainment is raw because I have no fucking idea what we're even talking about. What's the question? Read the question from our loyal viewer.
We have a question. That's right. We have a question because this is an AMA and it's an edutainment AMA. We've been asked, Netflix company culture change an indicator of the pendulum swinging back? Okay, so this is not in regards to actual shows, but this whole thing where the Netflix CEO or whatever he is was like released some memo in the company that was telling employees, like, if you feel scared of TV shows, then you should probably not work at a company that produces TV shows and movies. And no one really cared except for probably 50 severely mentally fragile individuals that happen to be working at Netflix. And the world has moved on. So, but the question is this an indicator of this pushback, right? Because there still is a time in some instances where that kind of outrage that people, this certain subset of people that are wielding a kind of cultural power and trying to take institutions hostage through emotional manipulation, where that works, particularly on campuses where it seems like they're just adult daycares now, where anytime a student has a grievance, everything is turned upside down and, as a response to that grievance, no matter how ridiculous it may be.
A grievance.
So you're getting
in the old
a little,
English
a little out of
pronunciation.
Grievance is the sophisticated way to say things.
Yes or no? Where's the pendulum swinging these days?
It's busting through the glass. I mean, that's the problem, is that these things, people don't understand. You fuck around too much, pendulum swings back a little farther than you like, So it's that's always my fear, is that okay, yes, let's kind of get away from this fundamentalist leftism shit, but let's not go back to the shit that we were all not into in the 80s when it was the moral majority shit, which seems quaint compared to the shit that is going on now. And some of the things that we will talk about in the private portion of this AMA, like Canada preventing the unvaccinated from leaving their own country, etc.
Canadian Netflix sucks.
They
I
don't
said it.
innovate. You
Hot take.
understand?
What is up with the pendulum? The Netflix pendulum. What's up with the Ricky Gervais? What's up with the trans? What's up with the trans Netflix employees? What's going on here? Here's an idea. Netflix productions, in the main, have always sucked. The same with Amazon Prime productions, or whatever they call that. I've said for many, many years, it seems like all of the original content they make, minus the comedy for Netflix, was made by an AI. It seems like what they've done is they've actually harvested the data of the public, and they've said this type of scene would probably be appealing to this demographic. That's how I actually think that they inform the creation of their products. So I don't like any of it, really. Netflix, I used a decade ago when they sent the DVDs, that kind of thing through the mail. That was great.
Yeah. That was a big moment.
Right. So ask yourself a very simple question, which is, do I spend more time scrolling through the Netflix queue looking for something that is interesting to me, or do I spend more time actually watching something of interest to me? And I think that ratio for a lot of people is about half and half. It's binary.
I wonder if that's enough for Netflix. Like, they don't care if you watch the shit, right? Like, it's because you're paying the membership. So, technically, couldn't you have a membership and spend most of your time scrolling through the offerings and not actually watching many things, and it doesn't make a difference to Netflix?
Yeah, I don't think they care as long as you pay.
Yeah, I wonder if they have a way to know. They do have a way to know if you've watched things and just scroll. They know.
That's why I think a lot of people don't understand about something. When you touch the screen on your phone or whatever it is, you understand that they understand where your thumb is. They
know where you're looking.
They know where you're looking. They have you.
They know how long you spend looking at a thing. I realized that recently because I started watching some ads. There's some ads on Instagram, and we will do an episode on this talking about the different ads on Instagram, because I get totally different ads from yours. Your ads are incredibly dystopian and disturbing. Mine are dystopian, but they're funny as fuck, because I get the ads that are they're these just unhinged smartphone games that are basically all made by China, and they're terrible, but they're fucking hilarious in how bad they are. It'll be how will you escape your peasant life, woman? And then it's options. Cry for a man, put on makeup. And it's you get to go through this insane, it's just insane. And it's hilarious though, but they're entertaining to watch. So I started watching some of the ads sometime, and the next time I went on Instagram, within 2 times of me stopping to kind of watch the full ad, all I was getting was those ads. All of them were for these unhinged games. I was getting them on the Instagram story too, because you get ads there too. So I was getting them in both places, and I never watch them on the Instagram stories because they're not as funny. I like to look at the comments of people being like, what the fuck? So I would go and engage with the post in that way, and they know. So they filled my shit up with that.
Here's the key, what you do. And this doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about. But quick tip. Report for sexual misconduct. That's what I do. If I get an ad I don't like and I don't ever want to see something like that, I just report it for all the worst possible reasons. Boom, done. We must fight. We must fight back.
That's true.
We must push the pendulum towards the way that we want the pendulum to swing.
That's true. You have to swing the pendulum. Don't leave it to chance or gravity. You can't trust gravity.
Don't do it. Well, this has been a great public portion of the AMA. We're going to make these a lot shorter because I reject it.
We haven't answered the question fully. Stop it.
But do you want to answer the question?
Yes, I would.
Yes or no?
That's not how I answer questions, and you know that. That's why I have a podcast. Because I want to be able to speak for an hour on one question.
It's boring. The whole thing's gotten boring, hasn't it? It's we've worked the trans angle. Everyone's worked the trans angle for years now, and it's getting a little boring. They need to bring something else out.
Yeah,
they got all kinds of other stuff. They got the two-spirit people or something like that. What's that? People think they're animals or something. Is that not what it is? I thought that's what it was.
No, I think it's like it's the indigenous version of being trans, which is like I
Oh,
have the
okay.
man and the woman inside me or something. Like,
I don't know.
okay,
I thought there was one where you think you're an animal or something. Or
that's the
there's the
furries. That's the
Okay.
furries.
I really think that's the cutting edge of where we need to go next. Leave the trans
Yeah.
alone for a while. They've had it for
Yeah,
for a
yeah,
few
they had their
years.
moment. It's like way out. They're really like, come on, give it to the next one. Like it's a little bit
Right.
unfair at this point. Like we got to start scrutinizing
Step it
that.
up. Let's step
Yeah,
it
yeah.
up.
I want to talk about like how furries are being maligned and oppressed and like furry lives matter, all of that shit. I want to see it all. I want to see it for every
Well,
oppressed
coming.
subculture. It is coming.
and it inevitably has to.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's true that there is a portion of people whose lives are built around activism in some fashion or another, and we'll have a little, I think, here's my prediction. I'm going to use AMAs for random predictions that are offensive. So we'll have a little spell here where we'll get retro. We're going to go back to abortion stuff for a while. We're going to get retro 80s, 90s abortion style fights for a while. We'll probably do that. Then the wider culture will become bored and be like, what can we talk about now? Trans people, that's kind of 2020. So then they'll pick something else. That's my prediction.
Yeah, well, we see it. That's like how it's gone. It used to be the abortion stuff and whatever, and then it's always
perennial.
a new thing. I mean, look, it was like Ukraine for a day, and then you turn around and it's like, oh, now we're going to abortion. Now it's guns again, and it's just like, we're just here like, what's today?
You can combine things. Did you notice they briefly at the beginning, the media did a few articles about Ukrainian trans people that couldn't leave because they had, no, I swear to God, because the government had said if you're a male of age, something, you can't leave the country because you have to fight. And then there was a few articles that was like, well, but the trans people that are technically whatever men, but they don't recognize. And it's like, well, what now? It's like, it's just like, come on now.
What now?
So where are the pendulums? I think there's multiple pendulums. I think there's room for a diversity of pendulums.
All swinging at once.
But look, I mean, no, I can't. I'm at the end. I've never even been.
You were never at the beginning.
Yeah, that's true. I've never taken this fucking seriously in the first place. So okay,
please.
So yes, I think that I'm trying to actually answer this person's question. Number one, Netflix is losing a lot of money because they have done a lot of stupid things. They've made a lot of bad material.
Yeah.
They canceled everybody's subscription in Russia. Maybe not kind of an own goal, as you like to say.
Oh, they did that?
An own goal. You know about that one?
No, I don't know what I ignored that. I'm not sure
it's
about that.
It's a little harsh. It's a British phrase. So if in soccer, I call it soccer. Fuck you, Europe. If you accidentally, and the rest of the world besides America, if you accidentally kick the ball into your own goal, it's an own goal.
Oh.
And so the hardcore people back during the IRA terrorist bombings in Britain, when the bomber would accidentally blow themselves up before they actually blew, they would call it an own goal. Anyway, keeping it light. My point was, I like to mix a little terrorism and violence into the little history of that into the AMA. So they're losing money. If you ever thought Netflix or Disney, whoever cared more about your gender than they care about their money, then you're an idiot. Now, not to say there aren't people within those companies that do care about it. I think they do. I really do. And I even think that's fine in some instances. Great, whatever. But they care about your fucking money more than anything, and they always will. And they should. That's their job to do that. Great. But they make garbage, and so people don't want it anymore, and so they're tuned in to the AMA from the Silver Eye Society podcast. Think about this. There's at least one person watching this right now, and they're watching us talk randomly about the subject, and they're not watching Disney Plus.
Fuck you, Disney Plus.
Pushing the pendulum.
That's right. Pushing the pendulum here with the Silver Eye Society viewers. You don't like it?
I don't know if I don't like that phrase.
Pushing the pendulum?
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe a little suggestive. I don't know.
That's not right. Yeah. That's the new Netflix special. We're pushing the pendulum about the two-spirit community.
No.
I don't know what two spirits are. Sorry about two spirits. I say 1 out of 3.
Sorry.
Why stop at 2? Why
That's
2?
true.
Can we have
That's
3
true.
spirits? Can we have 4?
That's kind of binary, you know, like
I'm gonna have an
non-binary spirit.
Do I hear
You know?
3 spirits? Do I hear 4? Do I have 4 spirits?
Numbers are white supremacy anyway.
That's true.
Pretty sure that's a thing. So, you know, we've got
Why
a problem there. Anyway, I agree. There's a degree to which I grow a little bit suspicious of these things because it's like, oh, now you want to start being like, if you don't like media, then get out. Where was that energy like forever ago? You know, like at the beginning of these things. It's not, okay, it's always driven by like the bottom line, which is fine to a certain degree because that's what a company is meant to do. So it's like, I prefer them to do what they're supposed to do, like not to like masquerade as a charity while also being a for-profit company. That's weird. And it's like somehow deceptive.
Wait. But that wasn't what they were doing. Remember, while they were masquerading as charitable and all that stuff, their goal then was also to take your fucking money.
Yeah.
See, that I don't understand. It hasn't changed.
Like,
That's
it feels
always
weirder.
the point. And so what's really happened is pretty simple, I think. These companies have been losing money. They've gotten pushed back politically and culturally by a lot of different angles. DeSantis is like, wipe Disney from the face of the map or whatever. Great. Don't tread on me. I'm all for it. Also, and then everybody's just like, this sucks. I don't want to watch a docudrama about a pregnant man or whatever. It's boring, even if you're into it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just they've realized that the broader culture is having a problem with some of these things.
Well, that's the thing is you're catering to a minority, you know, like and it's like, it's interesting when it comes up to like business shit, because then it's like, okay, yeah, who actually pays you? There's a lot of loud people on Twitter, but when you actually like, everybody's dollar is everybody's dollar, you know, like you whether you're screaming on Twitter or not, you still have $1 to spend. So that's equalizing in a sense where, you know, like that the silent majority that we always talk about for everything, they're probably what Netflix has found out is their actual customer base, not like the handful of deranged people on Twitter who've never logged off since like 2017. So
I think their customer base is people that have no friends that they can't share a subscription with, or people that signed up to Netflix in 2015 and forgot to cancel it. I think that's a large part of their customer base. And look, they have an extensive library of things. I hate it, and I never, I can barely find anything good on there. Every now and then you can.
They need to get that together, you know, because you have things like, you have other competitors on, you know, on the frontier. Like you have like the Daily Wire trying to make films and shows and whatever. And it's like, I don't know what's going on over there. I don't know whether it'll be good or whatever. But it's like, if you don't serve the need, someone else is going to try to do it, you know? So it's like they have a choice.
That's also a niche type thing, right? It's going to be like, let's make conservative movies. I mean, no, that's going to fucking probably suck too.
Yeah.
It probably is.
I don't know if they're conservative though. Supposedly they're straight up just movies. Like they're not like trying to push a conservative angle or something from the few movies that I've heard that they've come out with yet. So, you know, we'll see. Like that would actually be the smart move on their part, is to not come out and be like, these are Ben Shapiro's in every movie, you know, like type of thing. Like just make movies, because then people will be like, looks good, you know, and then check it out.
Yeah,
instead of being like, oh no.
Ben Shapiro
You're
should do
discriminating against the conservatives.
He should do what Alfred Hitchcock did. Alfred Hitchcock was in every one of his movies, and like just for a frame, he would put himself in there. It would be funny if every movie they made just had Ben Shapiro's face somehow in the background.
That'd be so funny.
I don't know about all that. I don't know. They make movies. I mean, that's a big ask. I will say on the other side, because I'm sure I've offended a lot of people, it's great. But conservative people aren't as creative. They're just not. I'm sorry to break this to you.
They're not, man.
They're not. And that's okay, because I believe in diversity.
Right.
I believe that's all right. They should do accounting, and they should account for things, and they should manage things and all that kind of stuff.
Have businesses, you know, like whatever. They make businesses.
They do.
What else
and they do it well. And there's differences. I'm sure there are certainly many creative people of all types of political dispositions.
You've got to have them all. It's what I realized. Like, it's also the political thing. Like, I get sick of the whole, like, oh, the left versus the right and whatever. It's like, you stupid people, you need both sides. Like, you literally need both. They work together. What you don't need is the extremes of both. You can just kind of like chop that animal off, just push those people off the spectrum. And you keep this, like, somewhat conservative, more conservative, more liberal, and then into the middle section, moderates. And all of this ends up being this balancing act, And like that, through democracy, then ends up kind of like fairly balancing progress and, like conserving things that work and like having this kind of like, actually functional feedback loop, as opposed to like, I just don't understand what people think. I don't know. I don't want to get into it, like, of the thing of like, oh, just get rid of all the conservatives. They mess stuff up, or the other, or the versus, or or the other extreme of that. You have both. You need to have both. So whatever. You need to have the people to do accounting, and you need to have the people to actually make good movies. Okay, so you got to have both. Because if not, you get Netflix and the Pregnant Man series, and you get like. What is it? What are some of these things that they come out with? The conservatives try to do art, and it's like not okay.
I don't even know. I don't know.
I don't
know what the Daily Wire. I've heard they make movies. I don't actually. It's not.
I don't know.
My thing. Ben Shapiro and that kind of thing. I can't. His voice and the speed at which he talks, and you do that sometimes.
I knew you were gonna.
Well, because you do, and
like
you did this thing, and I was just air it out in public right now. You did this thing where you would sometimes speed up your video or something, and you did that to clips of me once, and it made me absolutely enraged. I don't know why, because it sounded like Ben Shapiro. But anyway, I'm fine with him. He's great, whatever. I don't know. I don't want like this blob, though, of moderation either. So I want the Two-Spirit people to make documentaries. I want them to be like hardcore Two-Spirit documentaries for their audience and for everyone if they want to check it out. That's actually fine with me.
Yeah.
And you can, and I want Ben Shapiro to make, or whoever, to make movies that are hardcore about whatever moderate conservative point of view
whatever
he
they're
has,
interested in. Yeah.
So it's fine. It should all be. It doesn't. We all don't have to hold hands and make art together. That's not going to work either. That's
not good. No. Yeah, it's enough. It's enough. So I think the pendulum will swing back. I think it is, swinging or whatever. I think that's my whole thing, is when I look at all this stuff, it's like, I think if you give stuff enough time, like, people actually are mostly reasonable enough to identify things that are shitty and wrong, and to, like, through this kind of, like, collective consciousness, slowly lean in the right direction. As long as you don't have, like, people swooping in to manipulate and take advantage of, like, moments of panic or moments of rage or whatever, that's my concern. Like, I think if you just let the system kind of, like, the democratic system kind of do its thing, you have that balance.
We talk about democracy here. What's going on? Why are we talking about democracy? We're talking about studios making movies. This isn't a democratic process. I don't know.
Well, because it's tied up with politics.
Yes.
Because it's the same problem. Like, it's, the Netflix thing is kind of a microcosm of that, because it's like, we're trying to change Netflix, right? Like, whoever it is, if it's the activists that are like, we want you to take down that Netflix special, okay, fine, but you're only 5 people.
You're talking about
on Twitter.
The response of the people as a whole, as an audience, to what is being produced.
Yeah, there's something democratic about that, essentially. It's like, it's that free market type of shit where you let people kind of be the deciding factor, as opposed to this top down, like, this is what we're going to make and they're going to like it and that's going to work. And it's like, it doesn't. It actually does. It's kind of interesting. Like, you can kind of see the same elements that you have to deal with in politics and governance within, like, in business and companies, right? Because it's like, you can't do that as a company. You can't say, this is what the customers should want. This is what's good for them. So we're going to make this and, like, force them to buy it?
You can't do that.
Work.
You can.
Well.
And you trick them, but you have to lie and trick them.
What is this? What is this? How does this work?
It's
Scam
called,
or China?
It's called changing people's minds. I mean, you can certainly do that. You can make cereal that's full of garbage and be like, it's
but
low
they
fat.
like it,
And it's
though.
like, yeah, it is low fat, but it's also garbage, like corn droppings or whatever that's been made.
But it's
By
not
the way,
forced.
My understanding is the Rice Krispies elf became trans. Let's keep this back on the subject.
Netflix.
So I don't know if he was Netflix. I don't know where that elf is on the pendulum. But anyway,
is he trans?
I don't. I think it could have been a
Okay.
joke. I don't know if I saw it. Or
Okay.
You have to fact check me.
God knows.
Anyway, look, the world is changing. Zoom is changing and has changed against us. The Chinese Communist
Yeah.
Party trying to limit the amount of time we can do a
We can
podcast.
talk about
all of a
Netflix,
sudden.
yeah.
So the Keebler elf is trans. Ricky Gervais is funny. He's
Yeah.
always funny. That's all I have to say about that. I haven't watched his latest special. He's funny. One of
Yeah.
my favorite comedians of all time. Right up there.
That's true. He deserves that.
And look, if you don't like the way the pendulum's swinging, just hop off the pendulum and fucking cancel your membership or
Yeah.
do something
You're
different.
free.
I don't know.
Use your freedom.
You're free.
That's the thing. Like, literally use your freedom to go somewhere else, do the thing that you want to do, make the thing that you want to make. Instead of like being like, I don't like that thing. I have to take away other people's freedom because I don't like that thing. Like, that's some authoritarian mind shit. Mind shit. That's good. That's some authoritarian mind shit. That's the name of this episode. No, you can't do that because you can't curse on Netflix.
Well,
Can't
you've been
do
doing that. You've been cursing a lot this episode. I'm a little concerned.
I mean, curse on
you're
Netflix.
You're never going
Boy.
to work for Ben Shapiro's production company with your language.
Well, that's
I like
their loss.
That's true. So, can we wrap this up? I've tried to wrap this up a billion times.
Silence.
I won't be silenced. I'll cancel my subscription. I'll cancel my own subscription to the Silver Eye Society in protest.
Speaking of the Silver Eye Society, if you enjoyed learning about the problems with Netflix and the problems with people and other such general topics, you'll enjoy all of the things we make. Unlike Netflix, we don't cater to anyone. We make whatever we want, clearly. And so if you'd like to enjoy what we want to make, sign up to the Silver Eye Society. You can get the full AMA that is coming up after this episode. I guess like this is a show or something. It's like
There is, you know what? Ben Shapiro has a point. Because if I could make your voice speed up about a quarter on the intros and the outros,
satisfied. You're never
I know.
satisfied.
But I was thinking about it. I may have been wrong. Maybe we should. Can you do the?
Maybe he has
Go ahead and try the
point.
outro like Ben Shapiro. Go ahead, try it.
All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sign you guys up for the Netflix special. And can't do it. No, sorry, Ben Shapiro. We are okay with you. The Silver Eye Society stands with Ben Shapiro. No, I can't say that. I'll get canceled before we start. No, I don't care. I don't have an opinion on Ben Shapiro is the problem, you know? Like, there's just a bunch of things I don't have opinions on, and he's one of them. So sign up for the Silver Eye Society so you can find out more things that I don't have an opinion on and more things that we do. Bye.
Edutainment first. That's what I like to call the Silver Eye Society. Wow,
That's
you
the
just
name of our production company.
redlined the mic. All right,
Oops.
great.
I'll cut myself out.
I thought you said
Okay.
I'll cut myself. I was like, oh, the mental health breakdown went quick on the outro. I thought you were like, I'll cut myself. All right.
Oh my God.